what is going on? Cover One crew, welcome back to the show. Everybody is doing good. What a weird week it was, man. Interceptions, turnovers galore, missed fantasy points from very poor productivity. And I mean, this is why we watch NFL. This is why they play the games, because it is so unpredictable, and we do our best to try to get it. If I missed on some of your start sits, I do apologize. It was just one of those weeks that nothing came to pass in some of these games. But what are we talking today? Must-add players, week number 11. As the bye week troubles do start to kick off. I mean, we got bye week Armageddon coming in week 12 and 14, where 12 teams are going to be on the bye week in those 2 weeks alone. It's going to be ugly this week. I mean, we got 4. It's the Cards, the Panthers, the Giants, and the Buccaneers on the bye week. So we're definitely going to have to go and scrape the bottom of the barrel to hopefully replace some of these guys and keep our playoff hopes alive, or keep our standings where they are and where they sit today. So let's start with these running backs. Audric Estime, Denver Broncos, interesting character. I mean, you go back all the way to the offseason where we even heard the, sayings of Sean Payton, Coach Payton, talking about the fact that they could even release a Javonte Williams because he liked Audric Estime that much. Now with Estime running the football, didn't get a whole heaping of points this past week. He's only got 12.8 on the season, 7% owned. But, I mean, at this point, we know Sean Payton loves this guy. He handpicked this guy, and he wants to utilize him, and said his workload and his volume should increase. And this is typically what happens, especially with teams that are teetering on the point of playoff contention. For last 6 weeks of the NFL season, we do see a lot of rookies, a lot of first year, second year players. They do get a lot more spread on the field because they want to see what they have in these gentlemen. Audric Estime is definitely one of these guys. If you got room, I do not hate adding him at this point. You just got to understand it might not pan out to be what we hope, but it will be terrible to miss out on a running back like this, especially with the coach speak of a Sean Payton. So I would recommend Audric Estime on your bench at least for the next 2 weeks to see what we can do with him. Jaylen Warren, 54% owned. Yes, I don't typically put 50% plus over on my shows, but I mean, running back's getting very skimpy. If a Jaylen Warren is here, he's doing enough for you to at least look relevant, but it's not, over the top either at this point. What I do like in the positives is that Russell Wilson is playing very good football, and these Steelers are going to be challenging for a playoff spot without question. Funny enough, they haven't played any division games yet, so Jaylen Warren could see his role increase. As you know, AFC North football is a ground and pound punishment game, and we know Jaylen Warren could be absolutely utilized with a Najee Harris that much more. Trey Benson, I mean, this is the week, man. They're on the bye week. A lot of people are going to fade a Benson, not even going to look in the direction of picking him up. Pick this man up right now. The last 2 games, he's seen a lot of traction, a lot of good rushing upside, and when they come back from the bye week, as they continue to lead this division, these Cardinals coming out of nowhere all of a sudden figuring things out, they will utilize a Benson a whole heck of a lot to relieve a lot of punishment that a James Conner does get when he is taking the heaping and lion's share of the volume. Trey Benson's absolutely going to be utilized that much more down the stretch to save a James Conner, especially if they go into the playoffs. They want to keep a Conner healthy. Benson right now, man, especially if people are going to fade him because he's on the bye week, get him on your roster immediately because this could pay massive dividends down the road. Tajay Spears, huge handcuff right now. He got back from the injury report and played in this contest. And we do realize that a Tony Pollard's been playing absolutely lights out all season long on such a, I don't want to say a piss poor team, but they don't look great. The Titans do overall. But Tony Pollard has been the engine moving the entire offense. And if anything happens to him, he's dealing with a foot injury. He tweaked his knee this past game. Tajay Spears definitely has got to be one of these guys you're handcuffing if you are a Tony Pollard owner. Without question, get him on your team. Khalil Herbert, I almost had him on my waiver wire last week with the suggestion that he could get traded, left him off, and then he goes and gets traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. So interesting, Zach Moss, he's gone for a long term with a neck issue as well. There will be touches to be had. As good as a Chase Brown is running the football, there will eventually be touches for a Khalil Herbert. I like me Khalil Herbert ever since coming out of college. Believe it was Virginia Tech. Such a good running back. He was later in the drafts. Just hadn't gotten his full crack, and when he did in Chicago, he got injured. So hopefully there's some touches for him in Cincinnati. Not running to the wire to go grab his services, but he definitely is one of these guys. If you got room on your bench or if you have lack of depth overall at the running back spot, Khalil Herbert's definitely one that I'm targeting. Zach Charbonnet. Okay, we know with Kenny Walker III's injury history. I mean, right now, a lot of people dropped Charbonnet when it came to the Seahawks bye week this past week. Now, all of a sudden, he's under 50% owned at this point. He could be sitting there on your waiver wire, and you're like, humming and hawing, should I pick him up? Absolutely. If you got room to have a lot of these depth players, now is the time to stash them on your bench because we require them just in case of injury. You don't want to miss a beat, especially Kenny Walker owners. Kenny Walker goes down. We've seen it already before. Charbonnet comes in, instant running back one, almost 90 points, 82.1 points on the season. I'm absolutely all in on a Charbonnet if he is sitting on your waiver wire. Definitely pick this man up. Tyler Algier, at this point, he does not have much standalone value because the Falcons finally realized that they got a thoroughbred in a Bijan Robinson. He's absolutely crushing it these past several weeks. And, I mean, it's just going to limit Tyler Algier that much more. He is nothing more than a bench stash for a handcuff purposes because he does not have much standalone value at this point the way that Bijan is running. Likewise, with a Ray Davis. Say, hey, Ray, it was not good news this past week. I don't know, okay? I had a different envision for how the Buffalo Bills were going to attack the Colts defense. Thought it would have been a lot more run-heavy, especially without Keon Coleman, without Amari Cooper, and they were still passing the football. So, okay, it's Josh Allen. What are you going to say, man? Josh is a beast, and he's going to carry the team, but I definitely thought Ray Davis would have seen a lot more touches than he did, but, nevertheless, I mean, he is going to be one of the better handcuffs if a James Cook does go down. Again, standalone value will be hit and miss for a Ray Davis, but he definitely does have a role, almost 70 points on this team. Cam Akers and a Ty Chandler for these Minnesota Vikings. We saw Aaron Jones go down. He got carted off in that game, thankfully came back, dealing with, I believe it is a hip injury. And again, likewise with somebody like a Kenny Walker, we know the injury history is vast for an Aaron Jones. So, I mean, at this point in the pecking order, it is going to be Cam Akers. Then it's going to be Ty Chandler. The way it was shaken out, Akers took a lot of the carries when Aaron Jones did go down. So, I mean, at this point, I do like me a Ty Chandler. He's one of these guys a lot of teams continuously just want to replace with somebody better. And right now, Cam Akers is ahead of him on the depth chart in the pecking order. Gus the Bus Edwards, he comes back from injured reserve, gets some touches. And, I mean, even Hassan Haskins scored a touchdown. We know how much John Harbaugh loves to run the football, so Gus will have a role. He's going to be likely the TD Vulture like he was in Baltimore, had, the way that these Los Angeles Chargers had envisioned his role coming over when they did with a J.K. Dobbins from the Ravens, and I think it's going to go like that as well. J.K. clearly has the lead job, all scooped up at this point, but Gus is definitely going to steal some of those touches down the stretch as those Chargers continue to win football games, and Justin Herbert does look good, man. Jerome Ford is just here right now, just in case something does happen to a Nick Chubb as well. His season has been regrettable, but we knew it was going to be the way it was when Chubb came back. He'd be relegated back to secondary duties, and not much would come his way. And finishing with running backs, it is a Blake Corum. Pure handcuff at this point. He's not doing near enough to even roster for me at this point, but he is definitely on the watch list. But if Kyron does go down, you guys know fab dollars are going to have to be spent massively, and not many of us have the dollars anymore. So if you want him, put him on your bench. Any Kyron owners, I would definitely recommend it that way. Quarterbacks, Justin Herbert. Herbie, he is playing very good football lately. 54% on the ownership, 134 points, and they are winning football games like they used to. Okay, it's very safe football. It's run the football, find the open man, and Herbert's doing everything that's being asked of him, and he's scoring 20-plus points per week, not knowing what else you want your quarterback to do, and we're seeing guys like C.J. Stroud not playing well, absolutely crippling us. Aaron Rodgers did not play well. So, I mean, if you're not taking 20 points from your quarterback, I don't know what you're doing at this point. Justin Herbert absolutely is figuring stuff out. He is my top quarterback on the board. Likewise with a Bo Nix. More than just a streamer at this point. I mean, they took the Kansas City Chiefs down to the wire, and these Chiefs, I don't understand how they just got a horseshoe up their butts, man. They just keep winning games. Blocked field goal last second. Are you kidding me? Only Kansas City comes up with this stuff, but Bo Nix definitely is showcasing the fact that he is progressing in the absolute right way. Sean Payton has this man playing ball and a very safe floor for fantasy football, almost 171 points right now. He's doing very well, 44% owned, and you could do a lot worse than a Bo Nix at this point. He definitely is more than just a streaming quarterback for me as we move forward. Russell Wilson, dangerous, and he's doing good. He's doing what he needs to do. They're winning football games. He's throwing those moon balls. It's looking nice in Pittsburgh. They're winning. They're playing good defense. And Russ doesn't have to be the show. He just has to deal and dice these defenses up with some good passing plays, which is what he's doing, getting more and more comfortable as the weeks do go by. He is a perfect streaming quarterback for us if we require him, especially for all you Kyler Murray owners. Russell Wilson could be a good one this week as well. Geno coming off the bye week. Hopefully they reset, they get back to basics the way that Geno was playing early on in the season, because he was good early, kind of faded as they went into the bye week. Need DK Metcalf to come back as well. Hopefully it'll continue with a Jackson Smith-Njigba as they were force-feeding him right before the bye week. So absolutely a Geno at 52% owned. He's definitely one of these guys I'm streaming if I require a quarterback. Drake May, my guy. Told y'all about Drake, man. This guy's just good stuff. He is progressing in the right way as well. Beat out a Caleb Williams in the rookie showdown. Drake is good, man. He's taking a New England Patriots team that is basically should be on the bottom floor, and he's making the most out of it. When we see rookie young quarterbacks uplifting wide receivers like this in this room, where there isn't necessarily a true alpha wide receiver one on this team at this point, he's uplifting everybody in this offensive scheme right now. He's doing very well. Drake May is one of these guys you're looking to stream. He can be absolutely trusted at this point, especially in matchup play. He will give you the business. Derek Carr for these New Orleans Saints. Where the hell did that come from? Okay, you know, we understand. Coaching change usually uplifts a team. Didn't think it was going to happen that way. I can't trust Derek Carr overall, but I mean, he is back on the radar. Found MVS, found a plethora of different wide receivers that we all know they had to replace. Olave, Shaheed, etc. So Derek Carr, at least he was able to move the football enough. Excuse me. And like I said, they're going to utilize an Alvin Kamara, so at least he'll get you, a 13 to 15-point floor with the upside of a 19 points if you require it. Jameis Winston coming off the bye week. I mean, what do we get with Jameis? He's just going to continue to throw the football. You're going to get ample interceptions. Hopefully you get some TDs mixed in with that. You know what you're doing with that roller coaster ride with Jameis Winston. And then a Joe Flacco throwing lots of picks last week. He's only reliable in matchup play versus weaker teams. Wide receiver time, Ricky Pearsall, unbelievable. What a catch. What a, roll turn to, go over the end zone line. Excuse me. Ricky Pearsall is one of these dudes, man. He's going to have his targets. He's going to have his games. So many mouths to feed. Brock Purdy looks good. 55% owned. If Ricky is still on your waiver wire, absolutely don't know what you're waiting for. You should have grabbed him last week because it's likely that he's not there anymore. He will continue to do the business as he gets more comfortable, and Kyle Shanahan will at least give him Brandon Ayuk targets in this offense. Adonai Mitchell, A.D. Mitchell, baby. This one right now, okay, I understand. He's replacing a Pittman. He got yourself, 10 points, half PPR. Not a great deal, but this is the situation I'm talking about. AD is extremely talented, and if Pittman does miss ample amounts of time, it's time to unleash AD. It's everything what we were saying. He's a fabulous route runner, got great hands, and he's got wheels for days, and it would behoove these Indianapolis Colts to continue to utilize this young rookie as he gets his feet wet, and Joe Flacco at least able to support guys like a Josh Downs now with AD. I like it a lot. It's better to be too early than too late, as a lot of people will not go for his services. Only 16% owned right now. AD is definitely one of these guys. Get him on your team, man, because he could pay big dividends down the line. Pop Douglas, pop. Okay, under 10 points, again, half PPR, but at least it's the 9-point floor. I don't hate it. Drake May's dicing the football out to these guys. I do like it quite a bit. 42% owned. Pop Douglas is a good flex option, and then if he scores a touchdown, we're in the 15s. This is kind of where we're at. I'm okay with him right now. I absolutely own him on my bench in multiple leagues right now. Am I starting him every week? No, but it's at least he's there for an option if I require it. Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Can we trust this man? I mean, okay, 3 catches, over 100 yards, 2 tutties? I mean, can we trust this week in, week out? He goes to New Orleans, he goes down to the Bayou, and he figures out how to catch the football? I don't know, man. We've seen this story before. Maybe he realizes he's got to do something here. It's worth a pickup, I guess. I mean, I'm just tempering my expectations. 2% owned. Nobody basically owns them at this point. So you will go in for a bidding war. Some will take a chance and outbid you. But, I mean, MVS at this point, why the hell not? Because of the way the Saints play ball. Basically taking over that Rashid Shaheed role at this point with the wheels that he does have. Worth a flyer. If he doesn't pan out, we could drop him. Just don't overspend the rest of your fab dollars if you so choose, man. Demarcus Robinson did not do much on Monday Night Football. And he's going to be one of these dudes that it is strictly matchup play, especially when they do move the football in the red zone. Then he gets his opportunities. You're looking at 3 to 4 targets per game at most, and then hopefully you're getting a touchdown. So he is one of these guys definitely going to be riding that wave of success and failure with a Demarcus Robinson. Christian Watson, Green Bay coming off the bye week. They got to utilize this man that much more down the stretch. I truly believe it. And I think that, he's shown that he's at least relatively healthy at this point. Is it going to continue? We will see. Reed, Dobbs, they are obviously 1-2 in that offense. I'm really just hoping that a Christian Watson can finally do something down the stretch. If he doesn't, I'm going to stop preaching this man at 44% owned at this point. So he is there. Definitely only a bench stash. We can't start him at this point until we see a lot more productivity. Mitchie, I forget his first name all of a sudden. Just vaded me, dude. Popped right out of my head. John Mechie. There we go. Jeez, that has never happened to me before. Maybe I'm having a stroke. John Mechie, baby. Okay, we understand Nico Collins was a last-minute inactive. And it did cripple a lot of us on Sunday Night Football. Absolutely terrible by those Texans. Flirting with the decision that he's going to suit up and play, and then last minute they say he's going to sit. John Mechie is one of these guys. Loved him at Bama with the Roll Tide, and I mean, the cancer did derail his comeback. Now he kind of looks like the John Mechie of old. Will this role continue? I really, truly hope so. Maybe it should be a Nico, a Tank Dell, and a Mechie, and I think this offense could move and do a lot of damage. Mechie taking over that Diggs role just a little bit. I'm good with it, man. He's a slot killer, and he showcased the fact that he is back in the goods, and he can make a lot of catches. He's definitely one of these guys on my radar at this point. Likewise, with a Mike Williams, he gets traded to the Steelers. Temper the top-end expectations. He caught a touchdown. Yeah, okay, 10 points, but this is why they traded him. They required somebody to take some pressure off of George Pickens, who made a ridiculous grab this week. Love me some Mike Williams. I think that, this is a great situation for him at this point. I'm definitely deeper leagues, 14 team and beyond that, absolutely pick him up if he isn't already in 12 teams. You could probably wait a week, but I mean, if he has one more big game, he's going to be one of these guys being scooped up off the waiver wire, no question. Alec Pierce. He's one of these dudes, I mean, it's just so boom or bust, but when he booms, he's scoring touchdowns and he's giving you 16. Like, it's just very odd with this guy. We got to see the health of a Michael Pittman. They were flirting with the IR with the back and the finger and everything he's dealing with this year. I wouldn't be shocked if they do shut down at Pittman at some point if he is not progressing and healing properly. So, Pierce, if a Pittman does get shut down, I don't hate putting him back on my squad. A Devon Vele, I mean, just a watch list player for me at this point. Likewise with a Keyshawn Butte. I mean, it's just too many mouths to feed in New England. Too many mouths to feed in Denver at this point, and we're both talking about rookie passers trying to support both of these wide receivers. At this point, definitely on my watch list, like what Vele does have, and I do love Butte going back to the LSU days. Always loved Keyshawn. Just hopefully he can actually take a next step in his progression as a wide receiver. He could be a very good wide receiver, too, in this league if he continues to progress in the right way. Mac Hollins dealing with the Keon Coleman injury. Amari Cooper should be back playing these Kansas City Chiefs this week, the Bills. So Hollins definitely is showcasing that he can be trusted. 2 weeks in a row with all these injuries, getting a lot of targets, and he is scoring. He is making plays. If you are in desperate need of a wide receiver, yes, the floor is extremely low, but Josh Allen's got to throw to somebody, and he found Mac Hollins on the regular. Once again, almost 50 points, and a lot of that coming in the last 2 weeks. He's definitely one we can trust at this point. And then Rashad Bateman. Told y'all, man, the Deontay Johnson trade to the Baltimore Ravens, I just don't know why you did it because, I mean, it takes Lamar a while to build the chemistry, and, I mean, Bateman caught himself a, decent game this past week again, but, I mean, this wide receiver room is very tricky. You got Nelson Aguilar, you got Bateman, obviously Flowers going to get his flowers every week, but then you got a Deontay. When are they going to insert him into this offense to make a Bateman irrelevant again? I don't know. It's very tricky. He's just down on my board. If you're really struggling for wide receivers, it is hit and miss on matchup play. Tight ends, finish it off with a Taysom Hill. Okay, like I said last week on Start Sit, it's going to be Taysom Hill, Juwan Johnson, and it's going to be an Alvin Kamara. And then now they added an MVS to get, at least they got speed down the field to open up everybody over the middle. Taysom Hill's absolutely going to have a big, sizable role moving forward with all the injuries without Chris Olave. CO2, my guy, he's on injured reserve with that concussion. Taysom Hill, if you do not see him on your waiver wire, somebody has him, obviously, 52% owned. If he's there, absolutely you pick him up because he will will continue to get you good points. Dawson Knox graces the board because we got to watch out for a Dalton Kincaid. Tweak that knee during that contest versus the Indianapolis Colts. Still no word. We saw Coach McDermott suggest, we got to wait and see for a Dalton Kincaid this week. That does scare me a lot for all y'all Kincaid owners and anybody losing a Cade Otton this week, a Trey McBride this week. If Dalton Kincaid misses time, absolutely Dawson Knox would be one of these dudes I would be heavily endorsing this week, especially versus Kansas City Chiefs. They got to use the tight end spot quite a bit, and we know Knox can make a lot of plays. Zach Ertz continues his floor of 6 to 8 points per week. So, again, if you're looking just to get those 5-6 points, he is there, gets a touchdown, it will uplift, but it is very tough to trust a Zach Ertz on the weekly. Pat Freiermuth, the Muth. What I tell y'all, I want to see it. I didn't even care, okay? I called him a bust last week, and he found his way into the end zone. I'm happy about it because utilize this man that much more. The Muth is the best tight end you have on this team. Don't understand why you guys don't utilize him. Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson, I'm looking in your direction. Utilize the Muth that much more. He is a quality tight end, will score you a lot of touchdowns, and I hope that it's going to continue. 50% owned right now. I would like to see one more game of good target share going his way before I pick him up and endorse the start. Juwan Johnson, like I'm saying, with a Taysom Hill, he saw finally his role increase, and I think they're going to utilize that. 12-man personnel, the double tight end sets, utilizing a Taysom, utilizing a Juwan Johnson, and then, however they do with a rotation of wide receivers. Juwan is going to be tricky to trust, but his role should continue. Jonnu Smith showing the fact that he is at least capable of that 8-point ceiling we're looking for, or 8-point floor. At this point, we saw him, his best game ceiling of 17 points. With the way Tyreek's dealing with a wrist injury, they're still utilizing him. They run the football a lot. Miami looked good on Monday Night Football on the defensive side. Still got to figure it out offensively, but at least Jonnu Smith has a role in matchup play. We could absolutely exploit that on the regular. Hunter Henry lost his role this week to an Austin Hooper. I don't know what the hell they're doing, trying to be, magical. So next week we could see a Hunter Henry actually get his role back. We'll see. 51%. He's almost got 70 points, and he's up there with the top dogs at tight end. He is one of these dudes. You got to understand the pain comes. What I tell y'all last week, it's like 1 out of 4 he booms. So at this point, you got to strictly look at the matchups and see who they're playing and if his opportunity will come. Jatavion Sanders for these Carolina Panthers. Right now you can leave him on the waiver wire. They are on the bye week, but his role's growing as a Bryce Young is improving as well. And then A.J. Barner at the bottom here as a watch list. Tight end player, because if Noah Fant continues to be out, his role would at least increase, and we saw the, at least chemistry building with a Geno Smith, which I do like, absolutely. But there you have it, that is week number 11. Waiver wire must add players. Like I said, it's getting skimpy once again, and with bye weeks coming, we're going to have to fill in these holes, and hopefully there are players here that we can snag to at least get us some decent point productivity. It's never over until the end. I can't harp on that more than enough. If you're losing right now, we can always go on a good run and still make it into the playoffs. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.